Baba says in Sangam Yug, you can be a befikar Badshah. So you are a carefree emperor. So Baba says, you are not a emperor as in you're not a king of, the world in Sangam Yug. But in Sangam Yug, you can be a carefree emperor. That is, you are an emperor. That is, you are a Swaraj Adhikari. You rule your senses. You are a master of your body and mind. But you are also carefree, because Baba says that kings are not carefree otherwise. But you are a carefree emperor. And how many of you are carefree emperors? Yes, you never worry. Yes. So if you worry, then Baba is giving us the solution to that. How to become a carefree emperor. So Baba today says that become capable and become valuable to become carefree. Now you see, let's take very simple examples. Baba talks about three capacities or three capabilities today. First capability, physical capability. Yes. Second capability, the capability of knowledge. And the third is the capacity of doing spiritual service. Okay, so these are three capacities or capabilities that Baba is today talking about. Now let's take very small, let's begin with physical capabilities. So, do we pay attention to acquiring physical capabilities? So, let's take an example of somebody who doesn't know how to cook or doesn't know how to read and write or doesn't know how to, clean the place they live in, or they don't have, minimum physical capabilities. So, if you don't have them, you will always worry. Yes, because if you can't cook your own food, if you can't wash your clothes, if you can't clean the house you live in, if you can't, do your ironing, if you can't do this much, then you will always worry. And there was this one brother, and he said that my mom says I should get married. So I said, why? Okay, your mom says you should get married, so let's just discuss. And I was not even talking about purity or gyan there, because he was somebody who did not know Baba. So I said, why do you want to get married? So he said, my mom says that you don't know how to do anything. So, if you get married, then somebody will take care of you. Yes. So I said, if you want to get married, but find a better reason. Because what if the one you get married to also doesn't know how to do anything? Then what? You get divorced and then find somebody else. So I said, if this is the qualification, get a maid. So that's better, yes. So, but the thing, but he was living in the US, so he said that we don't get maids cheap there. So I said, okay, so you want to get a cheap maid through marriage. So this is not how you go about the idea of marriage. So this is something Lokik also I'm sharing. So you see that people, so mothers will say that we are worried about our sons, and these days also daughters, because they don't know how to do anything. Then teach them how to do something. Yes, so if you're worried that you're worried about your daughters and sons, then teach them how to do things rather than, worrying about them. Because somebody who doesn't know how to do anything will always be worried, and somebody who's attached to them will be worried for them. So it is very important that we learn physical, we develop physical capacities and capabilities, and we should never ignore this. And I think, we are living in the best of times when you can learn anything you want to learn through the internet. Yes, you want to learn. I remember when I was 13 or 14 years of age, at that time, my mother wanted me to learn some basic cooking, and she suggested me to go for a cooking class. And that cooking class was 3 kilometers from our residence. And she said, okay, you can go in the evening, or you could learn something in the evening. But you see that earlier, I'm giving you this example because earlier learning anything was very difficult. You wanted to learn stitching or cooking or cleaning or anything, even little hacks about how to clean something came very difficult. But these days, because of the internet, learning any skill isn't difficult. People are taking up courses, whole yesterday I met somebody, and that brother told me that I'm preparing for civil services online. So you see, these days you can learn anything you want over the internet. So Baba says, but again, about internet, I want to give you one cautionary note that sometimes, when you keep watching something or hearing something, you think you are learning it, but you don't learn it until you do it. So you have to learn and do also, because sometimes people watch a lot of motivational videos and they think that we are thinking right and doing good karma all the time, but that's not true. So when you get up from after watching the video, watch what you're doing. That's important. And then sometimes, you have these do-it-yourself videos where you see, something being done very fast, and then you watch that and you feel like you've done it already. But that's not how you learn. You learn by learning and then doing and practicing. So Baba says you must have physical capabilities, and I think, even if you don't have great capabilities, no problem, but basic, something that you need for survival, cooking your own food, cleaning your own place, doing your own laundry, ironing your own clothes. Yes, so this much at least you should be able to do physically. And you should never be dependent on anybody for this, because this, if you can't do this much, then this will become a big issue, and then you will worry about this, and also, you will sometimes make very bad decisions because you are an incapable, because of your incapacity, your decision making will be very flawed. So, even if somebody is using that dependency of yours to bargain hard, if somebody is, taking advantage of that, you can't help it because you don't know how to do it. So that is very important. And not just knowing how to do it, but also being in practice is very important. And then second thing Baba says is, the capacity of knowledge. So the capacity of knowledge is very important, because knowledge is connected with discernment, decision making, and good karma. So if you are not knowledgeful, you cannot do accurate karma. So the capacity of knowledge is very important. If you don't understand what time you're living in, if you don't understand the truth of the time, if you don't understand the call of the time, if you don't understand the difference between pap and punya, if you don't understand the difference between good and bad, then what happens is you will not be able to gauge anything right, and you will make the wrong decisions and end up doing the wrong karma, and that karma will make you worry. So if you're doing if you're making errors of karma, you can never be carefree. So have you seen that even when you speak one wrong word from your mouth, it starts biting your heart, and you cannot get free from that. And I remember there was this one person, and that person said that there's a relative of mine, and he always keeps saying, I curse you. So he said, he uses this word all the time, I curse you, and so I asked this brother, okay, if he says I curse you, what? Then what? Why do you get shaken up? So he said, I feel like, that's not good, that person shouldn't be speaking like that. So I said, okay, I agree with you. They shouldn't be speaking like that. But even if they speak like that, what is the damage being done to you? So he said, I get very worried. I feel like, somebody is cursing me and something bad is going to happen. So I said, then you have to discern why you're feeling fearful when somebody is cursing you. Because, it's not like it is somebody's words that hurt you. No, it's your own, it's what you know inside yourself, the karma that you have done, that starts creating that worry and fear when somebody speaks bad words to you. Yes, otherwise you would just be carefree in that situation. I'm giving you a very extreme example, but just understand why I'm doing that. Because that what makes you actually worry and be in fear is your own karma and the memory that you've done some karma which can bring something bad to you. And when we don't have knowledge, so everybody in the world is today full of fear and worry. Why? Because 63 births of vikarma we have done, and whenever we do vikarma, our heart fills with fear and worry, and then that fear and worry get triggered by many things. But just like in Gyan, we understand that when you squeeze a lemon, you get sour juice. When you squeeze an orange, you get sweet juice. Why? Because it's what is contained inside that matters. Yes, so when somebody is doing something to you, or there's a situation, or there's COVID, or there's anything externally outside, the fear and the worry that you feel is not because of what is outside. That's just a trigger. Just like that squeezing is a trigger, but what's coming out is what's contained inside. Similarly, when there is a situation, when there is a behavior, that situation, that behavior is a trigger, but what's emerging in that situation, the fear and the worry, is because of what's contained inside. And this is why Janki Dadiji always said, that if you feel fearful, do good karma. And good karma is the privilege of a knowledgeful soul. How do you do good karma if you don't know the difference between good and bad? So this is why having the capacity of knowledge is very important to be carefree, because when you are knowledgeful, you know the difference between good karma, bad karma, and karma is very related to time. So, do you understand that karma has a very deep relationship with time? So, if you generally ask me, is it good to sleep or is it good to wake up? So, I'll say, what time? Yes, if you're asking me, is it good to sleep at 12 in the night or 10 in the night, I would say yes. But if you ask me, is it good to sleep at 10 in the morning? No. So every karma is good or bad or right or wrong according to the time. And that's why if you want to understand karma, you have to understand time. And this is why when Baba comes and gives us the knowledge, the most important knowledge he gives us is the knowledge of the time cycle. He tells us the knowledge of the time cycle. Why? Because karma is related to time. And if you don't understand the time, you cannot understand karma. So because it is Sangam Yuga, that's why purity is a must. Yes, it's not like, if you ask somebody before 1936, so, that was not the time when Baba had come, or, it was God's direction. So purity was still a good thing, but then, that was not Shrimat or not Shrimat. But now then when Baba is here and, the purifier has come from the soul world and he is sitting before us doing so much for us, to make a pure world, to create a pure world, then purity is not a choice, it is imperative. When I did the course and Didi asked me, so do you understand purity and do you want to embrace it? So I said, I have no choice, because if God says you have to be pure, you have to be pure. Right? So when God tells you and when time tells you, you have to be pure. So Baba says that karma and time are very related. This is why, so just think about, when people of the world hear that, here you don't have to remember your blood relations, those who are related to you by blood, but you have to remember Baba. Then they don't understand it. Why? Because they don't understand the time. They don't understand the significance of Sangam Yuga. They don't understand that now we have to go back. So that preparation is necessary. Yes, and have you seen that when somebody is ill, yes, then the doctor will push the relatives out of the hospital, of the operation theatre, and he will say, I will stay alone with the patient and I will treat the patient. Then does the relative, the parent, even if the patient is a little child, you have to leave him alone with the doctor. You cannot say, this is my child, I will stay with the patient inside the OT. Because you cannot treat him, the doctor will treat him. And at that time, the relatives are pushed out. Yes, and I remember, there was this incident, and there was this father who was very attached to the daughter, and he actually insisted that I want to stay in the OT while the operation is performed, and the doctor said, that's not possible, you have to get out. So you see that Baba says that when you just think about, timing, and when it was COVID, you couldn't you couldn't help somebody by being in the same room. You had to be out so that you could help them. And COVID told us, it taught us that, sometimes distancing is imperative. And when time teaches you, you can't say no. And Baba says, I don't want time to teach you. I'm teaching you about time. So Baba says, you are not somebody who is forced by time. You are somebody who is taught about time, and you work with time. You are not somebody who the drama teaches. You are somebody who is taught by God. So Baba says you have to become knowledgeful. And when you become knowledgeful, you understand the time, you understand that Baba has come, you understand, the difference between Sangam Yugi karma, Kali Yugi karma and Satyugi karma. So, Sangam Yugi karma is Sukarm, Kali Yugi karma is Vikarm, and Satyugi karma is Akarm. So when Baba says, I teach you the difference between Karma, Akarm and Vikarm. So Baba is basically teaching us what's the difference between doing karma in Sangam Yuga, doing karma in Kali Yuga, and doing karma in Satyuga. And we cannot do Satyugi karma here. We can do Sangam Yugi karma here, because this is Sangam Yuga. So Sangam Yugi karma is be yogi, be pure, and do everything to create heaven on earth. Devote all your body, mind and wealth to seva. That's Sangam Yugi karma. And Baba says, if you develop the capacity of knowledge, and you see, just like physical capacities, this capacity also has to be developed. Because knowledge doesn't sit in an impure buddhi. So Baba always says that, just like, I don't know whether it's scientific or not, but this is a saying, that if you want to contain the lioness's milk, then you have to have a golden vessel. And similarly, Baba says that if you don't have a clean intellect, a pure intellect, then Baba's knowledge will not sit in your intellect. You cannot hold it. You will hear it, but it will fly from the other ear. So developing that capacity for knowledge is an effort, and you have to be a very good yogi. You have to spend a lot of time in self-reflection. You have to spend a lot of time in silence and reflecting on what Baba is saying, so that you get it. And when you get it and it enters your buddhi, then you may start making those knowledgeful choices. Then you start acting knowledgefully. And Baba says it's very, very important to develop this capacity of knowledge, because if you don't have that capacity of knowledge, you don't understand that you're spoiling your fortune, but you'll keep doing that. Yes, you'll keep doing that. And there is so much of agyan in the world. There was this girl, and I remember she had come to the center and she was being beaten up by her newly wed husband. So, it was a very new marriage, and that husband used to beat her. And I told her, why don't you get a divorce, or why don't you just, do something about it? So then she said that, my parents have taught me that you have to, you have to die in your in-laws' house and do whatever it takes to. So I said, do whatever it takes to die, right? So you're taking the right steps to die. So good for you if that's what you've chosen to do. And then she said, isn't it the right thing to do to listen to your parents and do what they have taught you? So I said, no. Your life is your life, and your karma is your choice and your destiny is your creation, and I don't think that anybody should beat you up when you can avoid it. And why should anybody beat you up if you can avoid it? And why should you say that your parents want you to get beaten up and then your parents are happy so the world is happy? That's not how we are taught in knowledge. So, your body, mind, and wealth belongs to God, and you have every right to be pure through the body, mind, and wealth. So, why should you subject yourself to somebody's lust or anger or anything? So, that's not what knowledge teaches us. So, Baba says that it's very important to be knowledgeful, because in this world, in this body conscious world, you are taught so many things. In fact, 99.99% things are just the opposite of knowledge. So develop this capacity of knowledge. And then Baba says, because knowledge and karma are related, and if you don't develop knowledge, then you will end up doing vikarma, and then you can never be worry free if you're doing vikarma. And any little thing will just upset you and worry you. Yes, because it's what's contained inside which makes you worry. And then the third thing Baba says is the capacity to do spiritual seva. And spiritual seva is the only method to earn punya karma, to create punya karma. So one is remembrance of Baba, and second is spiritual seva. So Baba says, and spiritual seva is a matter of great capacity, because spiritual seva needs purity, a pure heart, pure intention. It needs knowledge, being knowledgeful. It needs being powerful also. So, I have seen Baba's children who are knowledgeful, who are pure, who have pure intention, but they cannot do seva because they don't have power. And if you don't have the power to tolerate, if you don't have the power to adjust, if you don't have the power to discern and decide, can you do seva? You cannot do seva. And because you will always say, I was ready to do seva, but this person and that person and this situation and that situation stopped me. And who made you think that the whole universe will give you seva on a platter and you will do it? Who told you that? You know that you will become a king if you do seva. You will become a Vishnu Maharajan, Vishnu Maharani when you do seva. And what makes you think that you will become a Vishnu Maharajan and Vishnu Maharani without facing any obstacle from anyone and anything? What makes you think like that? So when you set out to do seva, there will be many obstacles, and you have to, so you need the foundation of being knowledgeful and pure to start seva, but to continue it, you need a lot of power also. And sometimes when people see that this soul is a very good sevadhari, they always applaud their specialities. So somebody would say that this person speaks very well, or this person shares knowledge very well, or this person cleans very well, or cooks very well, or this person can sit still for hours. But if you are really knowledgeful, you know that anybody is a good sevadhari not because of their specialities but because of their spiritual powers. And whenever you are going to be a good sevadhari, you will endure a lot. because Maya will give you a tough time. And Baba says, if you're not ready, if you're naive and you have not prepared yourself that way, then you can never be a good sevadhari. And Baba says, and if you are able to do spiritual seva, then what do you want? Lots of good wishes and blessings. And then nobody can stop you, because these good wishes and blessings, they will make you fly. And nobody can stop anybody that's flying. Anybody who is flying. So you can stop somebody who's running or walking, but flying, very difficult to stop. So this is why Baba says, develop the capacity to do spiritual seva. And then Baba says, then you become unstoppable. First you become worry free, and then you become unstoppable if you have these three capacities: physical capacities, the capacity of knowledge, and the capacity to do spiritual seva. And Baba says, to become worthy means to belong to the one Father, and that is all. And then Baba simplifies it. How do you develop all these capacities? Simple formula: belong to one Father and none other, because Baba is the ocean of all capabilities and all capacities. Yes, so Baba says, when you have a pure heart and you belong to one Father and none other, then Baba will make you full of these capacities, and then nobody can stop you. Okay, so this is something. And then let me just read the slogan, little time is left. In order to experience a constant and stable stage, feel the sweetness of everything from the one Father. So Baba says that if you are deriving all your ras, all your sweetness from one Father, then you will always be in a constant and stable stage. You will be ek ras. Why? Because when you are deriving your ras, the nutrition of the soul from anything in the external world, then that thing or that one in the external world becomes your source, right? And that one or that thing in the external world is very shaky. That is not imperishable or unchangeable, right? That is going to change and that is going to perish. Then will your inner state of sweetness not change? It will also change. Yes, so there's a very beautiful saying: if your happiness has a reason, then every reason has a season. And when that season will end, reason will end, the happiness will also end. So if you want to be ever happy, if you want to be constant in your state of peace, happiness, joy, whatever, then you have to know that don't have any external supports and reasons. Derive every sweetness, every nutrition from Baba. You want to have the sweetness of attainment, you want to have the sweetness of relationships, you want to have the sweetness of a particular relationship, you want to have the sweetness of company, everything you derive from Baba. And then you will always be in a constant and stable stage, because you cannot be constant and stable when you build your stability on the foundation of something that is shaky itself. Right? So only when Baba is the constant, so when you have all relationships and the experience of all attainments from Baba, then your stage can also be unshakable. Okay? Om Shanti.